Have you ever walked into a room that just felt wrong? Maybe it was too quiet, too empty, or eerily familiar. If you have, then you already understand the fear behind the story I'm about to tell you. Because according to thousands of people online, there's a place that exists just behind the curtain of our reality. A place you don't travel to, you fall into. They call it the Backrooms, and once you're there may be no way out. The Backrooms are described as an endless, sprawling maze of office-like rooms. Imagine miles and miles of mono-yellow wallpaper, stained and peeling. The damp, musty smell of old, wet carpet under your feet. And above you, the constant, maddening humbuzz of fluorescent lights that flicker unpredictably. There are no windows to the outside world. No doors that lead anywhere useful. Just more rooms, more hallways, more of the same suffocating yellow. The most disturbing part is the overwhelming feeling of déjà vu, the sense that you've been there before, even though you know you haven't. This whole phenomenon exploded into our collective consciousness in 2019. On an anonymous internet forum, 4chan, the post was deceptively simple. It was just a single unsettling photograph of an empty liminal office space, tilted at an odd angle. The caption was a warning. If you're not careful and you knocklip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the Backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights and maximum humbuzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. The term knocklip is a video game cheat code that lets a player pass through solid objects, like walls. In this context, it means accidentally slipping through the fabric of reality itself. At first, it just sounded like a clever piece of internet fiction, a modern ghost story for the digital age. But then, something truly strange started to happen. The comments section didn't fill up with jokes or mockery. Instead, it filled up with stories. Hundreds, then thousands of users began sharing their own experiences. They claimed they had seen places just like the one in the photo. They described endless hallways in abandoned buildings they explored, empty offices late at night that seemed to stretch on forever, hotels where every single floor was an identical, disorienting labyrinth. The idea resonated with a terrifying number of people. It was as if this one image had given a name to a fear that many had felt but could never articulate. The stories started to evolve, becoming more detailed and more frightening. People said they felt an unnerving presence, the constant feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Others reported hearing faint, distant sounds, shuffling, scraping, or the soft echo of footsteps just behind them, always just out of sight. But when they'd turn around, there was never anyone there. Just more empty, yellow hallways. A few even claimed they weren't alone in that vast emptiness, that something else, something not human, was there with them, stalking the corridors. As the lore grew, a few key rules emerged, repeated again and again by those who claimed to have been there. One recurring detail was a dire warning. If you hear something moving nearby, don't go looking for it. Resist the curiosity. And if, by some terrible chance, it notices you first, run. Don't hesitate, don't think, just run. Because whatever lives in the Backrooms, you do not want it to find you. The community began to build a whole universe around this concept, creating different levels of the Backrooms, each with its own unique environment and its own specific dangers, its own entities that hunt those who fall in. So what is it about this idea that's so compelling and so terrifying? Psychologists believe the fear of the Backrooms is rooted in a very real concept, liminal spaces. The word liminal comes from the Latin word for threshold. These are transitional places, the in-between zones that are meant to be passed through, not stayed in. Think of an empty shopping mall long after closing, an abandoned school on a summer weekend, a sterile airport hallway late at night, or an office building after everyone has gone home. Your brain is wired to see these places full of people and activity. When they're empty, it creates a sense of cognitive dissonance. It feels familiar, but profoundly wrong. This discomfort can trigger a primal sense of anxiety, paranoia, and the distinct feeling that something bad is about to happen, even when there's no logical reason for it. The backrooms are the ultimate liminal space, a place made entirely of thresholds that lead nowhere, which raises a chilling question. What if the backrooms aren't just a story, but a name we've finally given to a deeply ingrained ancient human fear of being lost in the wrong place at the wrong time? This is where the line between fiction and a frightening possibility begins to blur. Some believers and theorists propose that the backrooms are a result of glitches in our reality. They argue that the universe, like a computer simulation, might have bugs. These are moments when the laws of physics break down for a split second, allowing a person to knuckle and slip somewhere they were never meant to be. They point to strange, real-world stories as potential evidence. Think about the countless unsolved disappearances, people who vanish from inside buildings with no trace, security footage that shows someone entering a room, but never coming out, urban explorers who report finding rooms in abandoned structures that shouldn't exist, rooms with no apparent entrances or exits. Of course, there's no concrete proof that these events are connected to the backrooms, but there's also no complete explanation for them either. They remain unsettling anomalies, gaps in our understanding of the world that the backrooms legend so neatly fills. According to the stories, you don't choose to enter the backrooms. You can't buy a ticket. It happens entirely by accident. It could be a simple misstep on a familiar staircase, a moment of distraction while walking down a long corridor. You might be in a place you've been 100 times before, and suddenly it just feels off. The air grows still. The sounds of the outside world fade away. And then there's only silence, broken by the hum of the lights. You check your phone, no signal. You're disconnected, isolated, you're in. And you have the terrible, sinking feeling that if you stay too long, something will find you. The backrooms have become one of the most shared and influential horror concepts on the internet. Why? Because its power doesn't come from monsters or cheap jump scares. Its terror lies in the fact that it feels so plausible. You don't need to believe in ghosts or demons or anything supernatural. You just need to accept the possibility that reality is as solid or as perfect as we think it is. That sometimes things can slip through the cracks. So the next time you find yourself somewhere that's strangely quiet, unsettlingly empty, and just feels wrong, pay attention. Look for the subtle shifts. The color of the walls, the sound of the lights, the feeling of the carpet. Because you might just be standing on a threshold. I'm Mr. Midnight, and you have just discovered a midnight relic. Some places, some thresholds, aren't meant to be crossed. Some truths are best left in the dark. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment for more true unsettling mysteries. Or just if you like sleeping on the cold side of a pillow. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had an experience that felt like you were close to the backrooms. Stay safe out there, little chickens. Thanks for watching.